The unrest of college campuses in the 1960s was spilling into high schools across the nation. The Vietnam War, among other issues, was a major cause of this turmoil. In 1971, protests broke out in Columbus, Ohio public schools. Central High School was one such school. 75 students were suspended during these demonstrations for destruction of school property and disrupting the learning environment. Ohio law at the time allowed the school principal to suspend a student for 10 days, as long as parents were given 24-hour notice and a reason. If expelled, a student could appeal. However, a suspension didn't grant this privilege. So, 9 students, including Dwight Lopez, claimed their innocence of any wrongdoing and went to the Southern Ohio District Court. The 3-judge court laid down the law, that is, the 14th Amendment, on the school. The court cited a violation of due process. The school, led by Goss, went to the Supreme Court. The big question for the court: were the students' right to due process violated? Well, the best place to look would be the U.S. Constitution. So what did each side argue? Goss and the school argued that public schools are a state operation reserved for states in the Constitution. Ohio offers public education as a privilege, not a right, so the rights of due process aren't included. They also believe that 10 days wasn't such a big deal. Also, school administrators, not courts, should decide. As for Lopez and the students, they argued a clear violation of due process, a violation that is dangerous to society. Students should have proper notification, citing why they are suspended, as well as the chance to voice their petition. Also, 10 days is a very big punishment that could have deep academic consequences. So what did the Supreme Court decide? Well, in a surprisingly close 5-4 decision, they struck down the Ohio law, citing the 14th Amendment and the violation of due process and equal protection. The 10 days was a serious punishment, and not all students, such as the 9 in the case, were guilty. The majority of the Supreme Court said that all students are entitled to an oral or written notification of a suspension. Schools must also provide evidence in case a student makes an appeal. That evidence must be enough to incriminate the students. Students are allowed to voice their side of the story in defense. As for the minority opinion, Justice Powell cited that the suspension was an insignificant infringement on students' constitutional rights. Also, youth and adults can't be expected to act the same. Therefore, they can't be treated the same. As Goss stated before, public schools are a state-run operation and interest. Schools act for the good of the people. As a result, discipline is what makes a good citizen. Nevertheless, the court ruled in favor of Lopez. We can still ask these important questions as a result. Do students deserve due process? Is discipline the tool for molding citizens? Was Ohio right to say that public education is a right and not a privilege?
America.